Welcome to Echoes of Enlightenment, where we talk about spirituality, life lessons, and overall self-development. In today's episode, I want to talk to the men about your emotions. Today, I want to talk to the men about our emotions. I'm a little older. Well, I'm 45 years old. And growing up back in the day, all the guys, we're pretty much taught just by society. Don't show emotions. Don't, be emotional about this. Don't be emotional about that. Men don't cry. Gotta just stay strong. Gotta, do this and do that. And that's how we lived our life. I mean, we didn't know any better. And as I, grown up and learned lessons, been through things, there's ways that men can still, have their masculinity with incorporating their emotions. Because I think it makes you weaker when you ignore your emotions. And at the same time, there's no possible way to ignore your emotions. That's standard. That comes standard with you when you're born. That's part of being a human. We all have emotions. It's about managing the emotions. That's what it is. Imagine going to a car dealership and you buying a car. And the salesman is like, everything you see on the dashboard, all these different notifications are, like your oil light, your gas light, your low tire pressure light comes on, everything that's on the dashboard. Disregard that. I know it comes with the car, but just don't worry about that stuff. Any human would look at that person and be like, I'm not going to disregard that stuff. Why would that stuff come with the car if it wasn't necessary? That's how I know when my tires are low, right? Salesman's like, yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, that's right. Well, my engine, I need to do something with my engine. That's why my engine light comes on. That's how I know I need to take it to the mechanic and get it checked out. Those indicators on the dashboard to help your car run better, that's what our emotions are for our body. Those are all indicators to help us navigate this world. Why do you think we have senses? Senses are like on the outside, and our emotions are sensors on the inside. And if you ignore when you're worried about something to assume that you're being stoic or masculine, that's like not changing the oil or running on a low tire. It's going to give out at some point. You got to acknowledge your emotions. They're there for a reason. They help us navigate. More you're in touch with your emotions, the stronger you are as a man. And that doesn't mean go around crying all day. Nobody should be going around crying all day. If you're going around crying all day and breaking down real easy, that's just a whole different problem. That has nothing to do with your emotions. You need to go, something's out of balance. Something's out of balance. That goes for anybody. If you're too far one way, or you don't care enough in this other area, that means your emotions are out of balance. That's why you need to be in tune with your emotions. You need to be able to recognize them. Recognize how you're feeling. Look at what's making you feel that way, then analyze the situation to how you can rebalance that emotion back to a stable level. But the thing is, when growing up being told that we're supposed to suppress our emotions, we never really got a chance to practice or even find out where a healthy level of emotion is, because we're supposed to keep it at a certain rate, but that's not how it's supposed to be. Our body regulates our emotions and our thoughts. We need to figure out what our thoughts are. Listen to our thoughts. Because your thoughts, if you watch what you think, because it's going to cause an emotion by what you think, and understand if that emotion makes sense. Make sure it's logical. Make sure you're feeling the right way for the right reason. When people act irrational, it means that they don't recognize the level of their emotion. And when their emotion gets too far one way, then it manifests itself on the outside. Then somebody's acting crazy off of that emotion that they feel that they weren't able to manage. So we need to embrace our emotions. As men, get back in touch with them. You're still masculine. You can still be stoic, but just that helps. You need to know how you're feeling, because if you're going haywire on the inside because your emotions are all unbalanced, but you have a stoic face on the outside, when something does present itself on the outside, you might not know how to handle it. You're just putting up a facade of a stoic person, of what you think you should be. But stoicism it needs to be all around, a balance all the way around, and starting inside. And that'll manifest on the outside. You got to learn that on your own. You got to learn it. Listen to how you feel. Say at some point, like, life is kind of hard on you and you feel like crying. You don't have to go and cry in front of everybody. I mean, you don't have to do that. That's not what you need to do. Man, when you by yourself, process those emotions, process them. And if you need to cry while you're by yourself, you're by yourself. But what you're doing is regulating yourself. You're fine-tuning yourself. You're getting everything back in order. So when you walk outside of your house again, you'll be even stronger. You're repairing yourself. That's part of the emotions. That's part of making you a man, is by recognizing that you do have some weaknesses or something did hurt you. But what makes you a man is being able to correct that, acknowledge those things, face them, correct them in any way you need to within yourself, and then step back out into the world. You'll be even stronger because you're not haywire on the inside, because you're like, let me ignore this, ignore that. Imagine if you ignore an oil change for too long. Imagine if you ignore your tire pressure too long because you're like, I'm not supposed to acknowledge that. Eventually that tire is going to blow out. And then you're going to have no choice but to fix that problem. And more you ignore something that's going on within you, worse it gets. And then weaker you are in the end. So acknowledge it. And then on top of it, let's get into it a little bit. On this podcast, I talk about intuition all the time because it's important. That's what I run off of. I'm in touch with my intuition. I know when it works. I know when it's notifying me. And it notifies me. The reason why I know how to move is because it's an emotion that gets my attention. Like if something's kind of weird, I might feel a slight worry. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go with that. Your intuition touches your emotions to make you move a certain way, or to get your antennas going. If you ignore your emotions, you won't be able to hear your intuition. And that's a big part of being a man. You got to be able to predict some things. That's what your intuition is, being able to be steps ahead of situations and knowing when to move. You got to know when to move before you have to move. That's being in touch with your intuition. And your intuition runs hand in hand with your emotions. And if you have your emotions understood and balanced out correctly, then you can really hear your intuition, because you know what these emotions mean. When they spike, you know if you're just tripping on your own, just, man, I'm tripping. Or, nah, this is real. Because you understand, you've learned yourself. Listen to yourself. It doesn't make you weak. You know, have compassion for people. Understand where they're coming from. Be comfortable with yourself. Once you're comfortable with yourself, then you don't care what other people think about you. That's what makes you a man right there. That's what makes you stoic right there. You don't care that somebody might look at you weak for whatever it is. You're comfortable in your skin. That makes you strong right there, because you can't be swayed. That's where the stoicism comes in. That's the masculinity right there. And you can still have all those emotions in you, just like everybody else does. You're just acknowledging them and balance out what needs to be balanced out to become the best version of yourself. But I'm going to end this right here. Until next time.